officer. So
Sorry.
that's all right, got it. And when I originally started at Aero Metao in 2017, I was hired on to head up the Metao Ready program, which was a program that was primarily focused on neighborhood gatherings and neighborhood organizing around fire preparedness. And it came out of the Metao Valley Long-Term Recovery Program from the Carlton Complex fires.
Okay.
And it's evolved over the last years. We had someone, Grace Butler was with us for a bit. She was awesome. I think she did a presentation for you all a couple of years ago. And she's now going to grad school, so she's left us. And FAMV got started by Kat Heim and Nancy Farr, so Fire Adapted Metao Valley. So they've sort of taken on a lot of the stuff that Metao Ready was doing. And so we've become more of a megaphone during emergencies on where to go for resources. We'll do spots on the radio. So we've kind of morphed over time. So you can hopefully bear with me. I had to dig through some old resources for this presentation. So please feel free to interrupt me and ask questions if you're not getting what you need. And I'm happy to, if I don't have the answer, I'll get it for you.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for being here. And thank you all for being here as well. And maybe do you want to just go ahead and start your slideshow?
Yeah, we'll do that. And then again, please feel free to, let's see, share this. Interrupt me with questions, because a lot of this is based on fire, but there's some other resources just for other areas of living in the Metao that I'll share as well. So we'll freeform this. Zoom is not my strength. So we'll just get into it. So a lot of the resources in this presentation come from the Lake Wenatchee Ready, Set, Go program. It's really, let me show you what they look like. This is their website. They do a great job of preparedness. They have a program in place for Ready, Set, Go. You can look through all like evacuation levels, the 6 Ps. So I've taken a lot from them. They are really active in this area. They have resources for information. A lot of it is Chelan County based, but just a good resource if it's something you want to look through. And I'll go back to my presentation. So this is, I think primarily we really want everyone to be signed up for emergency alerts, and there's many ways to do this. One of our primary ways is through our Okanagan County emergency management page, and I don't know if everyone's signed up for that. It's fairly easy. If you go to their homepage, there's a button, and I'll show you that too. This is what their webpage looks like, and if you scroll down, you can register for Okanagan County alerts. And when you click this, it'll tell you what you're opting into. So I have an account, so I could log in and change my what I want to hear about. So there's a whole list of things you can check about flooding, fires, wind, weather, how you want to be communicated with, whether it's email, a text message, a phone call. So it's all kind of located in here. And you can also text from your phone this number 888777, and they'll send you a link to sign up for it as well. It's kind of an easy way to do that. Definitely interrupt me if you have questions about this. Kind of a lot of information. Another thing that I use for work is a FEMA app, and you can download this on your phone. And this is what it looks like once you download it, and it allows you to sign up. So I can sign up for alerts here. And then once I click this button, it'll take me, it'll let me choose my location, and then I can choose whatever I want to get alerts on. So flooding, winter weather, you probably won't have earthquakes or volcanoes. So you can just go through and check the things you want. And that's another great resource in this area. And then finally, whoops, the Clean Air Metao website and the Purple Air smoke monitors are really great. I used these a lot last summer. They put a lot of work in. There's, let me give you a little view of this one. I just save this, like I save this website right on my phone, and I can just click on it whenever I want to check the air quality. So they've got monitors all the way up to Mazama, down into Pateros and Brewster, Chelan. So in the summer, when we're having smoke events, it's a nice way just to kind of see where you could go to get out of the smoke, or be prepared if you're going out that you might need to wear an N95 mask. So they've done a really good job with this site. So the next thing I was going to talk about is an evacuation plan. I know, like Alan Caswell, I know we've worked with you in your community, but thinking through, if we do have an event, like I live in Twin Lakes, so last summer we had 2 evacuations because of burn piles gone awry. So thinking through my evacuation routes, I have 2 ways out of here and 1 way was blocked. So I used to live in Edelweiss. There were 3 ways out of there. We had a fire season where we only had 1 way out. So it's just thinking through, what are my evacuation routes? What's my primary, secondary? If you have families, so for instance, I have children at this school, so I have a plan with them. If we need to evacuate, I'm going to come get them. Or if you had children out in the community with friends, where would you meet? People in your neighborhood, you know, if someone needs help getting out of their house, what's the plan? Like, who's going to go over and help them and communicate with them? We need to get out. What do we need to do? And having a plan in place can be really helpful in those situations. And then your pets. Last summer, I had to evacuate my cats and I did not have a cat carrier. So I now have a cat carrier. So just thinking about how you're going to evacuate your pets. Do you have your pet food? How are you going to get them into your car? Where are you going to go with them? So these are some things to think through on your evacuation plan. So then emergency kits. It's nice to have a kit in your house, a kit in your car. Some people have a kit at work, depending on where you work. Go ahead, did someone have a question? All right, I'll keep going. So the home kit, some people say drinking water and non-perishable food for a week. I think 3 days is reasonable. It's really what you're comfortable with and how long you think you might have to shelter in place. A lot of times we lose power here, so a flashlight with extra batteries. And in fact, I keep a flashlight under my bed, so I know it's there if I need to grab it and the power's out. First aid kit, it doesn't need to be complicated. Bleeding control, so lots of like bandages, antibiotic ointment. If you have special needs for such as allergies or an EpiPen, just making sure you have that all in one place and you know where to grab it. A whistle is really good. If it's smoky out and it's dark and you need help and you can't get out of your house, people can hear a whistle. Blankets for warmth, you know, especially in the winter when we lose power, having ways to heat, if you know how to heat your home, like extra things to keep warm, sleeping bags. Sanitation items, you know, just if it powers out, just even wet wipes are nice to have. N95s, masks for smoke, you can just store those in there. And then a battery powered or hand cranked radio. I honestly haven't tried this here to see if it works. I should. I don't know if anyone has any experience trying to use these in our area, but it's always on the home kit list. And then in your car, it's very similar. I keep these things actually in my car. I have a flashlight. I keep a sleeping bag in my car, especially even in the summer. If for some reason you come upon a car accident, and someone can be really cold when they're scared or have trauma. So I keep a sleeping bag in my car. Warning triangles are probably better than flares in our area. So if you can get those, you know, it's nice to set those up if you're stalled out in the road, just to prevent an accident. First aid supplies similar to the home kit. I like to keep I'm kind of paranoid. I keep a multi-tool in my side console in my car that'll cut a seatbelt and punch a window open. Just with flooding and things here, if you needed to get out of your car, it's not a bad thing to have, and they're really cheap. And then a spray bottle for if it's hot in the summer, you can fill that with water and it can help cool you down. Okay, this was kind of my extra stuff. Let's see, let me go back. So these are some things I took off that Ready, Set, Go program. Just things to know about your home. I said keep a flashlight near your bed, know where your gas and water shutoffs are. A fire extinguisher in the home is really good, and also in your car, because we've had instances where people pull off on the side of the road and set the grass on fire. So if you have a fire extinguisher, that's a really good thing to have with you, knowing how to use it and inspect it. Some of these are the things that Fire Adapted Met Valley does when they talk about clearing debris from around your home, having screens on your vents. The blue address signs, and I know Met at Home's been really big with this, to help emergency responders see your driveway are really, really good. We struggle sometimes at AeroMet to find driveways, and it delays our response. So again, I highly recommend those and can get you the information you need to get them if needed. The communication plan with your neighbor and family and friends. Your smoke detectors, I know everybody, I'm terrible about this, but changing and checking them at least once a year, probably twice a year. And then the air filters in your home, now's a good time to be getting those, and also getting new filters for those for our summer, because we all know we're probably at some point likely to be dealing with smoke. So this is kind of mostly, this was some extra information just that you could do in your house if we do have a fire and you're evacuating. Some of it seems reasonable, some of it doesn't. But this is from the Lake Wenatchee area. Some of them I didn't know, like closing your windows and removing shades. I had never thought about that, and moving furniture kind of into the middle of the room so you don't have the flammable items around the edges of your home. Turning off your pilot lights. Leaving your house unlocked with the lights on for firefighters. Sometimes they use our homes as shelter if needed in a case of an emergency. Bringing in your stuff from your deck that might be combustible and getting that from the outside of your home. Not leaving your sprinklers on. I'm guilty of this because they might need to use water to defend your home. And I think this is what they're talking about, critical water pressure. They need a certain pressure to run the hoses. I might be wrong about this. This is my assumption. And then backing your car into the driveway for a quick departure, and just having the windows shut so you don't get smoke in your car. So this is all of my presentation for, let me just not go back to for the fire part. And then Tracy wanted me to talk to you a little bit about some other things you can do to be prepared. One of them is air medical insurance. It's changed in the last couple of years. It used to be that you could buy a membership to Life Flight, which is who AeroMet calls the most because they have a base in Brewster. Sometimes we can't get them and we have to call Airlift Northwest, and they're based out of Wenatchee. It was in the past, you could have a membership to Life Flight and it would cover you for airlift, but now you need one for both. They do not cover each other anymore. And they both cost, I think Life Flight is $69 for a family for a year, and airlift is $60 for a family for a year. And we use them a lot here. If we have someone with a cardiac event, sometimes in stroke situations and trauma, we use airlift and Life Flight to fly our patients to a higher level of care. So I recommend both of those. Another thing, and this is kind of on a different path, is this time of year before fire season hits, I'll often go around with my cell phone and I'll take a video of every place inside my house and outside of my house, and pictures of things that are irreplaceable or things that I would need to replace in case of a fire. And I keep that saved in a cloud or somewhere where I can reach it if like my computer were to burn up or I lose my phone. Just for insurance purposes, it's really important you have that all documented. And I redo it every year just because I think if the insurance company were to see I did it 3 years ago, they might complain about that. So I want it to be current for every year. So it's a good thing to do right now. Yeah, Mac.
Before you get on to another subject, I'm sorry, I wasn't quick enough with my hand. With regard to Life Flight and Aerolift Northwest, we bought a 5-year membership for each of the members of our family who come to visit us, grandkids during the summertime, and different household in ours, a couple of years ago. So it runs for several years. What are you recommending to people now if you're going to buy just one membership and you don't want to do both?
So I would say in this area, if I had to buy one, I'd buy Life Flight. We use them the most. They're the closest, and we have a good relationship with them. We just used Airlift the other day, and they were great. So I don't think it'll change. I think we'll probably stick with calling Life Flight first on most calls. So I would say Life Flight if you're going to do one, and also calling your insurance company, because some insurance carriers will cover a medical flight. I don't think most of them do, but some do. So check with your insurance company as well.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. And I know Life Flight and Airlift will cover you in Alaska and Washington. And I think Life Flight will also cover you in Oregon and Idaho. So it's good to look into that.
All right. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Are there any other questions? I talk fast, so you're welcome to interrupt me. Okay. So we talked about the inventorying your house. Tracy wanted me to talk about like medical alert jewelry. And I talked to Tressa at work about this because we don't really recommend some over others, but we have had people in the Met Hall have good experience with Philips, and it's called Philips Lifeline. And I believe that they have a representative over in OMAC who will come over and help you set up the system. And it's really important here. Some of those life alert tags won't work in our area because of our infrastructure. So it's good to do some research into what systems will work here. And we know that Philips Lifeline system does work here. And I did have a coworker set up an Apple Watch system with her mom that would detect falls and then alert her when her mom had fallen. So that's another option that we've seen work really well for people in their homes. And if you have any questions about that, it's Cindy Button. I can always put you in touch with her and she could give you more information on how that worked for her and her mom. I think there was one more thing Tracy wanted me to talk about, and that was for those that recreate out in the woods. And we don't have a lot of cell coverage here, as we all know, in the backcountry. And there's some things you can use out in the woods to have communication if there's an emergency. I carry this big one because I like to be able to communicate back and forth. And sometimes for work, I need to be able to talk to my responders. So this one allows me to text back and forth with people. It's still clunky, but it works really well. It's kind of heavy. There's some smaller ones, and I can show you. I think I'm still showing my screen. Garmin has some great satellite. Yeah, Raka.
Oh, what's the name of that one?
This one is a Spot. The one I use is called Spot X. It's made by Spot. I picked this one because it was cheaper than the Garmin that I'm showing you now. This one cost me $200, and then I spend $13 a month on my to keep it going for my text services. And I have unlimited text on this. And it will actually pin my point, like I can ping where I am and send it, which is really nice if I have an emergency. And all of these have this, you can see like this SOS button. If I were to press this, it would alert their communication system and then in turn alert AeroMet Al. And I think police as well, our dispatch system. Mm-hmm. There's some smaller ones like this InReach Mini, but they're a little more expensive. But if you're worried about weight, they do the same thing the one I have does. And then Garmin has some, they have map ones, some are marine based. So many options. It gets overwhelming. I have, this is the, let's see if I can do this, if I can hit it without doing anything. This is the Spot. So this is the one I have, the Spot X. These Spot smaller ones are basically just SOS. You can't really communicate, but you could push the button and it would alert dispatch. So that's, and they're a little bit cheaper than the Garmin's. So it's just kind of what you want. And then really the gold standard will be a satellite phone. And then you can call someone. They're expensive, mostly because of their cell packages that you have to buy, but sometimes you can buy prepaid minutes and then you can talk to someone via voice. So that's another option.
Hi, Jen. I'm so
Hi,
sorry.
Tracy. It's okay.
That was great. Yeah. Thanks so much for sharing all that. And then on the Spot X, it said 2 ways. So can you also get texts coming in as well?
You can, and it's nice because I use my cell phone mapping. I have like satellite mapping programs on my cell phone, and I can put this, I can have an app on my cell phone so I can type on my phone versus trying, I mean, this thing, you can see the buttons are tiny. So I can just type on my phone instead of on this. And also it has pre-set up messages. So if I just want to send a quick message to my family, I'm okay, I'm running late, I just hit a button and it sends it to them. So it's pretty handy.
That's great. Yeah, I really appreciate knowing about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's open it up for questions. Anybody
So I
have?
see this message in here. Are there some kind of health insurance that do or don't cover the life flight? I have heard that there are some that do. I don't know who they are, but definitely worth a call to find out. It could save you a little money in buying the life flight insurance.
Sometimes, yeah, some people have also talked about the importance of just during fire season, making sure you have enough gas in your car. And there were some other ones, making sure, yeah, one thing is to make sure that your vents are not venting to the outside within your car.
Yeah, like recirculating. I like, because when the systems go down here, cash, because none of the credit cards and the bank machines aren't working. So I shouldn't, you can break into my house and buy groceries, a bag of groceries, but I keep $200, in my underwear drawer. So I know it's always there in an emergency. It can at least get me out of the valley if I need to.
Yeah. That's a great idea. Yeah. Any other ideas from out there? Or Frauke, you have something?
I have a question. Your comment about leaving lights on at your house and making sure fire trucks can come, have access. I wonder, and you said leave your doors unlocked. I know in the past, just 1 or 2 incidents where people take advantage of knowing people will leave their doors unlocked. And I imagine that's very minimal. Doesn't happen here very often, but it has. And
Yeah.
so I guess one has to weigh whether it's, you want to make sure that the fire people can come in and use your house if they need to, or
Yeah.
I don't know how do you weigh that?
It's a hard one. I think about that a lot because there's occasional break-ins in my neighborhood, and I kind of figure if they're going to get into my house, they're going to get into my house. They could break a window if the door, and I guess that goes the same for the firefighters. They could get in if they needed to and break a window. So yeah, it's a good question. Yeah. Maybe that's where that inventory app comes in handy, because you have recorded it, and if there's something like family heirlooms or things that you're really important and can't replace, just have those ready to go. I know some of those are big items, which makes it hard.
Yeah, what is the inventory app? What's the name of?
There was an inventory app. It was called UP, like UP Home Inventory. And I tried to find it recently. Let me see if I can find it now. And I couldn't find it. So I ended up just doing my own. I just recorded it and saved it. I don't know if they do it anymore. Yeah, I don't see it anymore. It was through an insurance company, but I don't know if they have it anymore.
And you try to do that before fire season actually starts.
I do. Kind of fun. You walk around, you're like, why do I have all this stuff? And then just record everything. And I even open closets and I just do it all because I feel like it just gives me peace of mind.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was very hard. Oh, sorry, Frauke.
No, that's okay. I was gonna say, I always do it before we have to evacuate. So I have done it in the past, but just with my own video.
Yeah,
of everything.
yeah, that's the way. I did it last year in a rush because we were evacuating earlier than expected. So this year I've already done it. I just went through and did it. So
Uh-huh.
yeah.
That's good.
So that's good. You just film it. You just go
Yeah,
around.
I just take my phone and just go around the video, and I have a cloud. All my stuff goes into the cloud, so I just save it there.
Okay, good.
And that way it's timestamped too, and they can see, like, if you have to go to the insurance company, like, I just recorded this, so it's current.
Great. Any other things we should keep in our car? I was gone. I
Oh.
think you said.
Well, I do keep some funny things in my car. I'm paranoid though because of my work, but I think this is important in my mind, is I keep a tourniquet where I can reach it in my car. We've had car accidents where people have needed to have a tourniquet, and knowing how to apply your own tourniquet in a case of emergency could save your life. So I keep a commercial tourniquet where I can reach it, and my kids know where it is if they need it and they know how to use it. So hopefully I haven't burdened them for life with paranoia, but I just think like having some things like that in your car in an emergency can be life-saving.
I'm not sure what that looks like or means.
Exactly,
but
yeah, I wish I had one with me right here. It's a kind of it's made of like a Kevlar almost material. So like if you, for instance, if I had a car accident, this is so dark, I feel like we're having this conversation, and I had a bleeding wound that was bleeding really, I couldn't stop it by just putting pressure on it. I can put this around my leg and tighten it down to stop the bleeding. Yeah, and it's commercial, so it won't break. You know, some people try and do it with a belt and a stick, but it's just quick and easy.
Yes, it did.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what else I have in my car.
Yeah, the fire extinguisher is
Yeah.
a good one that I don't have right now.
Come on, baby.
Any other great tips out there from?
Yeah, I'd love to hear other tips. I feel like I can always learn from everyone else.
I know we all have, a lot of us have been through.
Yeah.
Back when I was working on the west side, I worked in an office and most often wore high heels. So I always kept a pair of tennis shoes in my trunk in case I broke down and needed to walk and didn't want to walk in high heels.
That's a good idea. That's a good point too, because we often wear like flip-flops around here. And if you had to walk around through glass or something, it would be nice to have a pair of good shoes in your car. I like that.
What to do in an emergency, honey? It's not, the computer's downstairs now.
Oh,
I hope we're.
let's see, Susan, I don't see your microphone, but I can hear you. So.
Oh, no. I'm on my cell phone and I have no idea how to do anything. I apologize. Can you mute me?
That's fine.
I could see, but I couldn't access my computer this morning.
Oh, I think I can. If you want me, I'll mute you. But now you'll have to put anything in the chat. Okay. I think also having a blanket in your car is always a good idea.
Yeah, I keep a sleeping bag in my car all the time. Mac, you had a question. I see you. Oh, you're muted.
Yeah.
There you are.
Sound technician. A couple of things with regard to keeping things in the back of the car. Sometimes during the winter, especially if it's still there, things get wet, and it gets wet other times. To use an old dry sack that you've used for pick up from a friend, so that it really stays dry. If it's it's a jacket or blanket or whatever. Back to house preparation for fires. A couple of things I've discovered. Number one, uncovering vents. There is metal tape, duct tape type stuff. So it's not inclined to be resistant to heat. The other thing is that we have just gone around systematically around all of our buildings and put down anti-veg, weed cloth, the commercial variety, 20 years, 5 feet around each, or 4 feet, I guess it's the width of the material, whatever it is, around each of our buildings, and then covered that with gravel.
Oh, that's good.
And so So you're not having to scratch away all the needles and stuff. The other thing is, Braca, wasn't particularly happy that I did it, but I bought a leaf blower, an electric leaf blower, so I could blow stuff away quickly from around the buildings just before a fire might be threatening. And of course, we've evacuated 4 of 8 years, and so it was a pretty routine thing for us to do. So
Yeah, that's a good
it
idea.
just makes it a lot quicker and easier.
I know I read somewhere that they would recommending you take like plywood and put it up against your lower vents, but it seems to me like you're just putting flammable material up against your vents. I don't know if I like that advice, but that was something I read.
Yeah, I think that's right.
I think
Old metal roofing would be,
Oh yeah,
more
that would
like
be
it. Yeah.
I think also having some of those tarps on hand that you could cover any, I'm just thinking about my barn, like,
yeah.
so much happening out there that you could just throw some tarps over things quickly. The ones that are designed to be fireproof.
And I know that there's, sometimes it's hard to get out and do all this stuff. And if you ever need help moving things away from your house or doing things, I know Cat Heim has got a lot of work going on to help people do that. So they've got a good thing going with fire adapted metal. So
Yeah. Abby and I have just been working on the place and collaborating. Yeah, we have a great collaboration through FAMV, and also Team Rubicon is really amazing. This group of veterans that come around and do like all this work. So yeah.
And Outward Bound too, they always need service projects, so it's worth giving them a call. They come and do some for us at Aerometals. So
yes, we work also with Outward Bound as well. Yeah, great. I love it. You just got right down to it because it's such a beautiful morning. I know. I'm so sorry, you guys. My daughter just graduated and she's going on her first sort of like maiden voyage over to the islands this morning. And so, of course, I was running around trying to help her and then just left without my computer. So, any other good ideas or questions?
I have a question. Do you keep a special, a tin or a box with food in the car or at your house? And what kind of food?
I keep one in my house. I usually don't keep it in the car just because it gets so hot here. I guess you could find some things, but I keep in my garage, I just keep a box and it's got, I have kids, so it's got granola bars in it. It's got hard candy just for sugar. I keep that in there. I do have a camp stove that I could take. So I have ramen in there, just kind of some weird things. I don't usually do cans because I don't want to have to remember the can opener. You can get the soups, with the twist off top. Those are good. Trying to think of more. I try to replace it every year, so I don't have like the most non-perishable items in there. I think you could get creative depending on what you have on hand to cook the food. I don't know if that's a good answer to your question. Mine are mostly just snacks than meals.
I think another big thing too is just really thinking through your evacuation routes, and especially for folks that are newer to the Valley, maybe really understanding all the evacuation route options. And
we did have one year where you couldn't go over Highway 20 towards the west side over the pass because New Halem was burning and we had Chelan burning. And I think Omak and Okanagan. So we really didn't have a good way outside of back roads to get out for a few days, I feel like, when that was happening. So definitely looking at your maps, and if you're confused or need help, you can always call your Romeo. We can try and walk you through it. You drive a lot of these back roads. So or fire. Yeah. I know in Edelweiss, there's one road that's really terrible. So just knowing like, oh, it says this road gets out on a map, explore that and make sure it actually does go out without causing you major stress and trauma. Some of those roads aren't maintained very well.
Yeah. Yeah, probably will be, yeah, most likely one out of our 3 ways out of the valley, hopefully will always be open. But even just from your own house, you know, even from your own house, like let's say you're in Edelweiss or something like that. I mean, it's definitely good to just really think through all of your different options because yeah, sometimes things move fast and
you know, Fire District 6, I know they'll come out to your neighborhood and do an assessment. They did it for Edelweiss where they have assessed everyone's property, who they would defend, who they wouldn't, and ways of egress and ingress. So it's worth contacting them to see if they would do that if you want that to happen.
right. Or if you live in an HOA, then yeah, most of the homeowners associations seem like they're pretty on it. They're being pretty proactive with their work, which is great. It's just more, yeah, folks that are up drainages and things like that.
Yeah.
On your own that it can, yeah, it can be tough. I know. And next week we're going to be having a great program with Alan, who's here from the May Street neighborhood, and also Bill Moody. And they've done an incredible job of, well, didn't you all work together through the Get Ready?
I think it was before, I think it was with Haley, like you guys worked with Haley before I came on to Meta Ready. And then, but you've been one of the exemplary communities with the Map Your Neighborhood program. And I think Balky Hill's the other one. They do a good job up there.
Can you hear me, Jen?
I can, yes.
Oh, great. Well, thank you. Yeah, this is Alan. And you were talking about egress. I mean, even in the town of Twist and most likely Winthrop, many neighborhoods, there's only one way out, ours included.
Yeah.
And so people need to be ready and patient, I guess, if when push comes to shove. As far as next week, is there anything you want Bill or myself to address or reinforce with what you're saying or doing?
I just think that the address signs are really good. Just reinforcing that with your neighbors. I know there's a few houses actually up in that May Street community that we have a hard time finding sometimes at night. And then I know, do you use walkie-talkies for your community to communicate in an emergency? What's your communication plan?
No, we're in small pods up here of usually about 6 homes per pod. So if cell phones were to go down, it would just be door to door.
Okay, that makes sense.
And yeah, and you're right. In the past, we worked with, Sandy Scheinberg. It goes back to Sandy Scheinberg, and then Haley Rioch. And so I've never had the opportunity to attend any of your classes or presentations yet. So this works for me.
Good.
Yeah. So just looking forward to next week. I was hoping Bill Moody would listen in here too. This neighborhood is very blessed with having Bill Moody. We have Brian McAuliffe up here, used to be with District 6 Fire Department, Mike Liu, Hans Smith, all kinds of brainiacs that helped us put this program together. So we just hope we don't have to use it.
Yes, let's hope.
Yeah.
This is Tom Flynn. I just wanted to mention one more thing. You might want to think about having like a contact phone tree. So for example, if you had to evacuate quickly, rather than using up valuable bandwidth, trying to call everybody and telling them you're getting evacuated, if you just had somebody out of the area that you could call, that they could let all of your other important people know what's going on, so that, because my thinking is during a fire, we might lose some cell phone towers. And so the ones that are left are going to get overwhelmed with traffic. So if you have a landline, use that. If you're using a cell phone, that maybe you just make one call and it sort of puts a chain of events in motion that lets everybody else know that you're evacuating or you're getting out, and you don't have to then be using up that valuable bandwidth letting everybody else know. And instead, maybe a sibling or a friend, or a in-law or a parent could be letting everybody else in the family know what's going on.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
I know for years I kept my landline just for that emergency purpose, but
I have heard if you hook up your phone, like a landline phone, to if you still have the jack, you can still dial 911 with a landline phone.
oh, that's good to know.
Yeah.
I'll keep my little landline
Yeah,
phone.
it's worth keeping.
That doesn't need power. All right. Any other thoughts or questions for Jen? Yeah, Jen, you're definitely on the, front lines of a lot of things. One of the things I've been thinking about is just making sure that we here at Met How at Home kind of give a list to all the major first responders of folks who are having either an acute present issue or an ongoing, mobility issue or something that would, so that they would need assistance in the event of a big evacuation.
No, that would be really good. Yeah.
Because you probably have a list like that going already.
We do. Well, we have some lists. Yeah.
And do you share information with the other emergency services like the sheriff or the local police, or do you guys work in collaboration at all, or no?
We can't, we're bound by HIPAA, so it makes it really challenging. So we, in an emergency, that it's an activated emergency, we can contact police and fire to help us, but we can't really share any patient information. So it makes it a little challenging.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But we do, we call fire or police in any emergency, they're right there. So we're really grateful.
Great. Yeah. And you'd be willing to share, well, you shared the slideshow with me and I can send that out to all these participants too. So yeah, all of you can have a chance to look down the checklist of things. Those are some great ideas. I'm always sitting here like, oh, I need to do
I know.
all that still.
I can be guilty of that as well, not having it all together.
It's hard to be so proactive when there's always so many things that need to happen.
Yeah, and it's also very personal. Some things I have in my kit, you might not need in your kit or want in your kit. So just thinking through your own personal needs is really a good exercise.
Yeah, I think the prescriptions are a big deal. That happened to some of our members, in the Cub Creek, where it's like they had to leave like this and, didn't grab their prescriptions. And so it was really, it makes it a lot more stressful and complicated.
For sure.
And so having a little, ice pack in your freezer and just your little ice bag that can keep things cold. And
if you have medications, I know there are some medications that have to be refrigerated. We have these little, I think they're for diabetic medications, these little refrigerators we keep on the ambulance for some of ours, and it just plugs into the car lighter. They're not that expensive. It's not a bad idea if you really have to keep your medication at a certain cooler temperature, especially in a hot car when you're evacuating. Be worth looking into.
little refrigerator.
Yeah. It won't fit, a beer, but it'll fit a vial of medication. So.
Darn it.
I know. We had
Yeah.
responders put little mini plastic beer cans in our medication refrigerators. So when we did inventory, we were in there. It was kind of funny.
So funny.
Yeah.
It's good to keep a sense of humor.
It is. It's very
I
good.
know. I don't know how you guys do it, how you recover from, just being on the scene of these emergencies.
Sense of we laugh a lot. We have a good, we're a family. So yeah, it's a good,
Great.
supportive group.
Any other questions or comments out there, guys? Okay, well, fantastic. It's another beautiful June day. There's no smoke, no threat of fire that we know of.
No,
Because
it looks
we've been
good
getting all this
outside.
fantastic rain.
Yeah. I know I sat in on a forest, I had to go up and do a presentation to the Forest Service, and they had the national meteorologist on to talk about our fire season. And it was really interesting to hear some positives that,
Or get a word in edgewise.
what's that?
You say something.
Whoops, sorry, I was interrupting, I guess.
Oh,
I
it's
said-
okay. I
I
was just
said-
gonna,
I said, how do I get a word in here edgewise?
oh, you should get one in now.
Okay, Coco pointed out, speaking of your landlines, we have a cordless phone for our landline. And when the power goes out, it doesn't work either.
Yeah.
We also have direct connect phone, which does work. But if you only have a cordless, it's not going to help you.
Not gonna work. No, you need one of those older ones, just, the kind we used to have on our walls.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The little thing that goes round and round and makes
Yeah.
And
It
we
doesn't have
have
to be
one of
that old.
those.
It doesn't
I
have
think
to
we
be
should
that
bring-
old. Yeah.
I think we should bring
You know,
those
it doesn't
back.
have to-
What's that, Mac?
It doesn't have to be, no, it doesn't have to be that old fashioned. We've had they call it a princess phone, this little compact thing that's about this big. And we keep it wrapped up with a cord around it in our closet and pull it out whenever we need it in an emergency. So you can get those at, thrift stores.
Yep. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jen.
Yeah, no, this
and-
is great.
and Tracy
I
and
wanted to
Deirdre.
hear what the meteorologist
Oh.
said.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
said that with the wet weather and cooler weather we're having here in the Northwest, that fire season their prediction is if we have it, it'll be shorter. So it would start, especially in the higher and mid elevations, they don't predict it starting until August. And then in the lower elevations, they said it could start in July. But he seemed more positive. I mean, you can't control humans and lightning, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's looking good with our cool spring.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
Fingers are crossed. It'd be nice to get a little reprieve this year.
Good.
Of course, the downside of that is the grass is growing like crazy and it'll be ready to burn later on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true. Yeah. And that's why they predicted the lower elevations might have the similar start time versus the higher.
Yep, it's always good to be prepared. There's no two ways about that. So thanks so much, everyone, for being interested in how to be prepared. And I'll go ahead and send out these slides, and then you'll have all this great information, and please share it around, Let's all share the information around.
And if there's questions I didn't answer or that come up after, a lot of you know how to contact me, but if not, get in contact with me through Tracy, and I'm happy to answer any questions or find the answer if I don't know it. So, yeah.
Great. Yeah, thanks
Great
so much again. It's always good to have these recorded, and then people can come back later and check it out. So, okay, with that,
Right.
go get ready for fire season, everybody. Good luck.
Bye.
Bye.